couldn't get much higher. Come on, baby, like mud for you.
Here, let me help you with that on. There. Oh, is that better?
Where am I? Who are you?
Well, my name is Steven Spielberg, and you're on a deserted island where I've been living for the past year. How did you get here?
I don't really remember. All I know is that I was with my parents on a boat in the middle of the ocean. I've never really told anyone this, but I'm really terrified of the ocean. But then, the next thing I knew, it started to pour. By the way, my name is...
Oh, that reminds me of something. When I was little, I was terrified of the ocean too. In fact, I'm scared of elevators and airplanes. But you know what? Let me start from the beginning of my story and tell you how I got here. It all started back in Cincinnati, Ohio, when I was born, on December 18th, 1946. My parents' names are Arnold and Lee. Oh, and I have 3 sisters, too.
And the oldest was born in 1946.
Sue was born in 1953, and Nancy, the youngest, was born in 1956. I always used to enjoy scaring them. In February 1957, my family moved from Haddonfield, New Jersey to Scottsdale, Arizona. Not being interested in sports, I became the family photographer. In 5th grade, I made a movie called This Is a Dog's Life, starring my dog Thunder. When I was 11 years old, I made a 3-minute movie called The Last Train Wreck, which had 2 toy trains crashing into each other. At 12, I created my first film with a real storyline called The Last Shootout, so I could earn a Boy Scout merit badge. By then, I knew I wanted to become a movie director. Years later, the Boy Scouts honored me by creating a new badge called the Cinematography Merit Badge. My dad soon bought me a better camera, and I started making war films like Escape to Nowhere, which received attention in the press.
So one night, when I was a young child, I don't remember what age I was, but we were living in New Jersey, so I must have been around 5 or 6 years old. And my dad woke me up in the middle of the night, and he said, "Come with me."
Sylvia, come on. We're going on a little adventure.
Toby, Brad, come on, get up.
And I was really groggy. I remember my dad got me in the car. He said, "I have a surprise for you." And he drove me a while, and we drove to this field. And we got out of the car, and I kept saying, "Dad, what time is it?" And he kept saying, "It's the middle of the night." He didn't say what they said. It's the middle of the night. And there were all these people in this field, several dozen. And my dad brought a picnic blanket, and he put the blanket out on this grassy knoll, and we laid on the blanket, and we looked up at the sky. There was this fantastic meteor shower, like the Perseus meteor shower that we have sometimes. And I just remember looking up at the sky, and every 15 to 20 seconds, there was a fantastic light across the sky. And I think that was my first introduction to the world beyond the earth. That probably first impregnated me with wanting to tell stories not of this world.
One of my first feature-length movies was called Firelight. It was about UFO abductions. The movie premiered on March 24th, 1964 at the Phoenix Little Theater when I was 17 years old. The day after the premiere of Firelight, my family and I moved to Saratoga, California, because my father accepted a job with IBM. Oh, by the way, I'm Jewish, and my grandmother taught English to Holocaust survivors. Because I was Jewish, kids made fun of me in Saratoga High School. It was a horrible experience, and my schoolwork suffered. I was a C student. It was during these last couple of years at high school when my parents started fighting a lot, and around the time of graduation, in June 1965, they got divorced. Everything wasn't all that bad, though. Before my senior year of high school, I had jumped off of a Universal Studios tram tour to run onto one of the movie sets. That is where I met a man named Chuck Silvers. He was key in landing me the job of clerical assistant in the editorial department of Universal, and later became my mentor and friend. Unfortunately, because of my poor grades,
The film school at the University of Southern California turned me down. So I attended California State College at Long Beach. I really wasn't much interested in schoolwork. Universal Studios was like a dream to me. So in 1967, my father helped pay to rent a 35mm camera. I was already thinking about making another film called Amblin, which I started shooting on July 4th, 1968. I was very happy with the way the film came out because Chuck Silvers and 4 other editors saw it and loved it. Also, Chuck showed the film to Sidney Sheinberg, president of Universal TV.
Sidney met with me a week later, and I signed a 7-year contract with Universal to direct television shows and possibly motion pictures. So, I quit college so fast that I didn't even clean out my locker. So, now I'll tell you a little bit about my family, which I miss very much. I think about them all the time. I was first married to actress Amy Irving, and together we had a baby boy named Max. He was born in 1985. Unfortunately, work became an issue, and we soon got divorced.
In 1991, I married actress Kate Capshaw, who starred in one of my movies, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Together, we've had 6 children. Now on to my career. Before I became a successful director, I faced a number of obstacles. My first major obstacle was when I directed an episode of Night Gallery for television called Eyes, and it got pretty bad reviews. My first movie that was a success was called Duel, and it aired on ABC, starring Dennis Weaver. But the first film I directed that really got me a lot of attention was Jaws, which is a horror story about a great white shark. I'm not so much afraid of sharks, but I am afraid of the water.
Slower, hedge. I can go slow ahead. Come on down and chum some of this shit.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
That's a 20-footer.
25.
Close Encounters of the Third Kind is a story of an ordinary family man who encounters a UFO during a blackout. After the experience, he thinks that aliens will arrive in a mothership. I wrote the script over a 2-year period, developing it from my earlier teenage film called Firelight. In Raiders of the Lost Ark, renowned archaeologist and expert in the occult, Dr. Indiana Jones, is hired by the U.S. government to find the Ark of the Covenant, which is believed to still hold the 10 Commandments. The idea for Raiders came about when I went on vacation to Hawaii in May 1977 with my friend, George Lucas. E.T., the Extraterrestrial, originally called A Boy's Life, is about a lost little alien who befriends a 10-year-old boy named Elliot. While E.T. learns about life on Earth, Elliot learns that friendship knows no earthly bounds. E.T. is a very personal story about the divorce of my parents. In fact, the one-story ranch home you saw in E.T., as well as Close Encounters and Poltergeist, was my house as a kid.
Day. Ouch.
Other highlights of my career include Jurassic Park, which is about an island where an amazing theme park with living dinosaurs turns deadly. I was really trying to make a good sequel to Jaws on land.
Actually, no, it's no, I shouldn't be here.
Alan, this species of Variformin's been extinct since the Cretaceous period. I mean, this thing is among this thing. What?
It's a dinosaur.
Schindler's List, which was based on the true life story of a Holocaust survivor, won me my first Academy Award for Best Director. I won another Academy Award for directing Saving Private Ryan, starring Tom Hanks. This film was inspired by stories my father told me about his experiences during World War II. I've also directed and produced many other movies, such as Hook, The Sugarland Express, The Color Purple, Empire of the Sun, the Indiana Jones sequels, Jurassic Park, The Lost World, Poltergeist, Men in Black, and more. In the year 1994, I co-founded a company called DreamWorks SKG with two other men. We've produced many titles, including Shrek, and most recently Band of Brothers for television. 10 years earlier, in 1984, I formed Amblin Entertainment with Kathleen Kennedy and Frank Marshall, producers of some of my movies. By the way, during the filming of Schindler's List, many Holocaust survivors asked me if I would listen to their stories. At first I thought they wanted me to make a movie out of their stories, but what they really were saying was, would you take my testimony? So in September 1994, I founded the Survivors of the Shoah Foundation, which is a series of interviews with over 50,000 Holocaust survivors.
Wow, that's great. You've really accomplished a lot. Were you working on anything new before you became stranded here on the island?
Yes, in fact, I had a new science fiction movie coming out with Tom Cruise called Minority Report. I guess I'll never get to see it in the theaters.
Boy, after hearing your story, I realized that we both have a lot in common. We both love science fiction, and I think I have a great imagination too. I'm also curious about outer space in the future. Come to think of it, I think I'd make a great filmmaker one day too. And I'm also Jewish.
Thanks for listening to my story. You know, believe it or not, you came along just in the nick of time. Now, although I lasted an entire year alone on the island, I don't know how I could have survived another day without some company. You were a great help.
I'm glad I was able to help out. You have a great imagination, And I think you would have found some way to survive without me.
You're a very caring and intelligent young man. In fact, you remind me of someone.
Hey, there. You on the island.
You wait here. You wait here. Wait here. Help! Help! Over here! Over here! I'm over here. Thank God you're here. I've been on this island for a year. How did you find me?
We received reports from overlying planes that campfires were noted on the island. We thought we'd check it out. Are you alone?
No, I have someone else who, Now I know who he reminded me of. Of course. How else could I have survived these last 2 days? No. I guess it's just me. I'm all alone here. I guess what everybody says is true. I really do have a good imagination.